Good morning, everybody. This is Gil Gordon, CEO of Newcastle, Ohio. This year, instead of a traditional Christmas message, I wanted to be a bit more specific. I've never, ever been more optimistic about the world we're going to leave for our kids and our grandkids. It's going to be a world of AI and robotics, but it's going to be a better world. And I wanted to run through a few examples, having done a bit of work on this over the last year. We're in a world now where medical advances in biotech are going to make a big difference on not just the lifespan of the average Australian, but also the healthy lifespan of the average Australian. Think, about 60 years of age. So as an example, they've recently patented a series of medications to reverse aging, but we ran some numbers on it a little while ago, and simply extending the healthy lifespan of the American population by just 1 year will add about 1.5% to 2% to their GDP, about $3.7 trillion to their net national income. In Australia, we're a smaller country, but it's about 1.5%, and that's about to $300 billion are going to be added by the extension of lifespan, and that's going to be good for the family, for the share market, and the society as a whole. Another one which I'm really interested in is manufacturing. Wages and management costs associated with manufacturing are up to about 45% of the manufacturing cost, and AI and robotics seem poised to drop this by up to about 50%. Now, this will make huge flat screens cheaper. It'll make stoves cheaper and fridges cheaper and cars cheaper. Either way, it's going to work out well for the average consumer. I know, for example, that BMW and UPS are rumoured to have ordered 100,000 robots to work in their factories and delivery centres, specifically because they work well, and they work for 24 hours a day at a much lower cost than a human being. So again, things are going to get cheaper as a result of this. Food production is a fascinating example. I think for the Star Wars fans, think Tatooine is coming. Currently, labour costs are between 25 and 40% of the cost of food delivered to our plate, and that will be dropping. If you know anyone in the rural part of Australia at the moment, you know that labour shortage is a real problem for them. They simply can't get people to harvest their crops. So a lot of food is rotting on the vine, which really does add to the cost of food. So we're going to see a dramatic reduction over the next 10 or 15 years, or at the very least, halting of the cost of this as our wages grow. Transport's a very interesting one. We already know that there are driverless trucks in the mines in Western Australia, and there are driverless taxis in San Francisco and various states in America. The cost of transport, an Uber cost or a taxi cost, is currently between 30 to 50%, and that is not just Ubers and taxis, but it's also food delivery, energy delivery, and moving people and things around our society. So we're going to see a significant drop in the cost of transport over the next 15 or 20 years. And there's rumoured to be, this is an Elon Musk rumour, there's rumoured to be the introduction of flying cars shortly. So the Jetsons aren't necessarily far away. Education is one that's very dear to my heart. Labour costs are between 60 and 80% of the cost of education, all while the quality of education standard seems to be dropping. AI is going to do a lot to enable each child to have a personalised tutor and something that's very specific to their learning style and their learning cadence. So think of it like that. We're all going to have our own little personal robot on our computer that teaches us. So the teachers will be doing less talking, and for the schoolies out there, a lot less administration and administrivia, and they become far more of the curators of the content their kids are receiving rather than micro-testing and documenting things. So it's going to be a very exciting change. I don't think teachers are going to lose their jobs at all, but those jobs will change in a good way. The job market's fascinating. It's really interesting. In the turn of the century, sort of Federation times, Australia had upward of 50% of its people self-employed. This has dropped down to about 15%. Expect this to reverse as we move back to a contract or a gig economy. For those of you worried about your jobs, I wouldn't get too stressed. White-collar jobs are definitely going to be affected first, but it will take time for the blue-collar jobs to get there. But broadly speaking, I think we should look more at changing from doing work in our society to imagining and managing the work. Managers always get paid more. The AIs will develop better ways of doing things and doing them faster. So the job market is going to change, but it's going to be in many ways more creative. I want you to think a little bit about when they first came out with synthesizer music and electronic pianos. It was rumoured to be the death of the music industry, but it was anything but. So video never really did kill the radio star. Cryptocurrency is a fascinating one. It really is set to change the world. Inevitably, there's going to be a lot of volatility. But right now, all the big companies, the State Streets, the Vanguards, the BlackRocks, are rolling out crypto investment platforms. This will ultimately make things more efficient. It will reduce the cost of moving money around, but more importantly, it will increase the speed at which money can transfer. So think now, when you are perhaps buying something overseas, the money has to go from your account into an international transaction account to be transferred to the international transaction account on the receiving entity before going to the private account of the vendor. All of these things are going to make, or they currently do add cost and time delays in transferring money. But with Bitcoin or Ripple or even stable coins, you press go, the money will be in China or in Europe or in America. That's how quick this is. So the days of printed money are numbered. I mean, they've only printed 8% of the currency in circulation. But the intermediaries, the banks, the lawyers, financial advisors, are going to charge less fees because they'll be doing less administrivia or less implementation work for something that's automated and very quick to happen. The big one is energy. It's rumoured that Microsoft's US-based AI data centres will use more energy than Los Angeles by 2035. So there's been a massive shift away from thinking we can get by with less energy to an absolute screaming demand for more of it. And as a result, we are definitely going to see a mixture of energies, be that renewables. We will also see a lot of nuclear energy and different types of energy technologies coming out. But we really can expect a halting to the energy price rises and hopefully a reduction in them over the next 10 or 15 years. So AI will reverse all these factors. The upward cycling costs will stop and be reversed. And that's going to relieve pressure on all our wallets across the board. So I'm very much in a space here where technology, robotics, AI, a shift away from some of the ideological presumptions about energy are going to change things, but in a good way. I think we've all seen the houses that are 3D printed, but if you're building a house with a robot that can work 12, 15, 18, 24 hours a day, you're going to see the cost of production come down on all fields. So from all of us here at RI Newcastle and RI Hunter, thank you very much for your patronage this year. It's been a good year investment-wise. I think many people have found it a stressful year for personal reasons, myself included. We think broadly that we're going to have a very positive 5 to 10 years. I can't speak with any accuracy about the next 12 months, but we've done all right with your money over the last 12 months or 2 or 3 years. I expect we're going to continue to do well with it over the next 5 years. I want to thank you very much for trusting us with your money. I want you to have a very safe and happy Christmas with the people you love most. Take care. God bless.